Welcome to Green and Growing, the podcast where we refuse to stay stuck and be ripe and rotting. I'm your host, Wade Perry, and I'm here to help you thrive in every corner of your life, whether it's mindset, business, or fitness. Together, we're going to unpack lessons and game-changing strategies to keep you green and growing. Today, I am absolutely thrilled to welcome my friend Keith Everett. Keith and I have been friends now for about 15 years, and he's the Director of Growth for eXp Realty's Rocky Mountain region. He supports the agents across all of Western Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Idaho, New Mexico. Let's just say if you need a roadmap and you need to grow, Keith Everett's going to be a guy you want to listen to. With a background in hospitality and over 27 years in Colorado, Keith has become a leader in sustainable housing, affordable homeownership, and agent development. And I can speak firsthand. I have seen the agency that he's helped grow, and we're going to have a special offer for you probably at the end of this, so you want to stay tuned to the end. In this episode, we're going to explore market trends, the future of real estate models, and eXp Realty's growth vision. So, Keith Everett, welcome to Green and Growing. How's your day?
Wade, this is awesome. I'm super excited to be here, and anytime I get to spend with you is time well spent. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, we need to get out on the trails as soon as the snow starts melting. I'm on the ski hill until it melts. I know you're on the bike whenever you can. So we'll get together once it gets a little bit better. Keith, you've been in this business now for almost 3 decades, and you've been with different models. You've seen different markets. You've seen hot markets. You've seen COVID markets. You've seen the SNL bust. You've seen all of it. And I'm just curious, somebody in your position is kind of like a sage. You know, you've been there, you've done that, you're battle tested. What does Keith Everett see as the future in the market? What are the trends we're going to see as we get into 2025?
Well, great framing of that. Going into 2025, we've got all these things that are distractions. I mean, we had a big election and we have a new administration. We had the NAR settlement. We had the slowest year in real estate sales since 1995. So we've got all these distractions that take us away from the main focus, and that's how we can service our clients and take care of those guys and get in front of more of them. And so basically, the trends that we're seeing, I think, go back to basics. I mean, we've got the new do not call list regulations that are going to hamper a lot of people that are doing online lead generation, which throws us back to that face-to-face, belly-to-belly conversation with people whom you can have an effect on their future. And when you can connect with those types of people, it doesn't matter what the trends are, you're going to be successful. We're going to see an uptick in transactions, probably from 3.8 million nationwide to about 4.1, 4.2 nationwide. And prices are going to, in most places, increase at a slower pace, which is good for affordability. And when you mentioned that I'm all about affordable housing, attainable housing, depends on how you want to frame it. It's still very challenging. It's very disheartening when we have kids that can't buy in their own communities, that are living with their parents or living with 3 roommates to be able to make ends meet. So and they don't have the opportunity to get into a house. So those are things that I hope will be addressed in the years to come. Public-private partnerships, some special incentives for builders to go in those lower entry-level price ranges. There's just a ton of opportunity. And we know that we're between 1.5 and 2 million doors short for our current population in the United States. We've got to see, building, which I hope is smart, building, explode in order to keep costs in line where most people can afford to buy a home.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. The affordability is an issue. When we think about the fact that homeowners have a net worth that is 44 times greater than that of a renter, and I don't know if you saw this in the most recent buyers and sellers guide from NAR, last year, first-time home buyers were only 24% of the market. It was the lowest number
Hmm.
on record.
Yep.
And it has become unaffordable from that standpoint. I think there's a few things that have to happen. I agree with you 100% on builder incentives, something that I have thought would be a really great thing. There was an idea that bandied around during this last election cycle, and that was going to be to give everybody $25,000 to buy a home, and I disagreed with that because it would become quite inflationary to home prices. All of a sudden, you'd have a lot of people out there with some money going to buy houses that maybe they wouldn't qualify otherwise. And we don't need more buyers. We need more actual homes. And so my idea would be, let's give the builders some financial incentives, tax breaks, whatever it is, that makes it possible for them to go out and build entry-level housing. When you look at, say, here in the greater Denver area, you've got to go to Southeast Parker and you're going to spend $550 for a common wall home by KB. And that is not an easy number for a first-time home buyer to acquire. And so they got to put more shovels in the ground, but they can't make a nickel at that low price point. So if we give them tax incentives, I think we get more units and we get more people buying homes for the first time, especially on the new builds.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
That's one angle. I mean, I think we're going to have to try a bunch of different ideas, because if we go into it with a monovision, we're going to miss something. So, I mean, think about this. A Costco comes into town, into North Denver, and they build out the entire parking lot, the horizontal infrastructure to the sidewalk of the Costco building. Love Costco, not bashing Costco, but that's the value that the local leadership sees in a Costco. What about the people that work at the Costco? Why don't we talk to their builders about giving those guys those same kind of incentives? We're going to get property taxes off of the new homes. Help them get, I mean, the infrastructure costs out in Western Colorado everywhere doubled during COVID. And they're trying to find money instead of, not using the cuss word of tax by increasing property taxes. They're trying to find money all these other places. And a lot of it was, at the detriment of building new affordable homes. So if you build a home in X price range, which is 1.2% of the average price house in the area, or median price house, we're going to give you half off of your infrastructure costs. And if you go below that number, we're going to give you 100% off. Stuff like that. I mean, we've got to test. Look around. It's working throughout the country in different models. We just need to rip off and duplicate those guys and get something going, because we got to have some kind of answer for our first-time home buyers.
Completely agree. And the last little segment before we move on, I think it's really important that whatever the first 100 days, to call it 150 days of this next administration, I don't think there's anybody in America that doesn't believe there's too much fat in the government and we need to trim and be more responsible with our money. But I think what really needs to happen is there needs to be action by this new administration, whatever it looks like. I don't know. It's certainly way above my pay grade, but we need to instill confidence into the bond market that we're not going to have runaway inflation by these pro-growth measures that might be coming. And if we can offset any type of growth with other types of things that give the bond market confidence to go in and buy bonds, that will bring down interest rates and that will help with affordability. So I agree with you 100%. It's got to come from several different angles: infrastructure, builder tax incentives, the government giving more confidence for people to buy bonds to bring down rates. We get this all working. Hopefully in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, it starts to manifest. You've been around a long time and you've seen a lot of different models. You've seen the big box models. You and I worked at Coldwell Banker together. You spent time at Keller Williams. Obviously, we're both at EXP now. There's even still things like Assist-to-Sell out there and Trilora. What do you see as the future of real estate models as we look out into the next 3-5 years? And the reason why I ask is Wayne Gretzky had a great phrase, and that is, don't skate to the puck, skate where the puck is going. So, where does Keith Everett, in all of his wisdom of 3 decades, see the industry going in terms of models?
Well, I'll get my knowledge out of the teacup I have here, full of it. And actually, what I see is going to be a little bit dependent. And I'm not trying to qualify my answer and say, well, I was right, kind of. Uh, the longer this market is tough,
Mm-hmm.
the longer we have, a depression in the number of sold transactions, the harder it is for traditional real estate companies to stay open. And we're seeing it right now. They're closing left and right. They're being absorbed, and they're moving to different models. And the reason is their overhead is exorbitant right now with the income that they're getting, and with um, the push down, the negative pressures on commissions, that's going to hurt the big broker more because they're dependent on the income coming in from their agents to, number one, keep the lights on, number two, pay their staff, and number three, to stay afloat, as ownership. So they're going to have the toughest time out of everyone moving forward because the the market pressures aren't allowing them to grow. Um,
Yeah.
there are alternatives like EXP right now that are a lot lower income driven. We see the assisted sales or home smarts or the flat fee companies that are a place where a lot of people go. And I make jokes, but I'm going to make it anyway. Those are the places you go for your real estate career to die because they're not
Yeah.
offering you anything. They don't give you any opportunities for growth. They don't help you develop your business. So
Right.
the hybrid model in between those, where EXP and some of our imitators are, is where
Mm-hmm.
I see the most growth because it's offering multiple streams of income to the agents. It's keeping costs down. So the commission splits and percentages are a lot lower and more palatable to somebody that's really crunching numbers. And if you look at
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's coming from a big box, traditional brokerage, they're going to look at the far end where you have the per transaction people that don't give any support, but they're used to being coddled and handheld at their big box. And the happy medium is going to be a model similar to ours because we're going to take care. I mean, I can't believe when I came over how much EXP does for the agents, because
Yeah.
when I came over, I had been recruiting against EXP and talking about their penny stock and do you want to play Sims or you want to go to work and sell real estate, and how are you going to get in touch with me? By all totally false. And after being a managing
Yeah.
broker in Colorado for 2.5 years, knowing the access the agents had to us is better than anywhere else. So you're getting support, you're getting fair cost, you're getting multiple streams of income with our model. And I can't see us not growing a lot. The pressures on those big box guys, they're borrowing money more and more. They're in debt up to their eyeballs. That's going to be scary for them. Then when you look at the other side, those guys are going to get the guys that are, wow, I can't afford this. I'm going to go over here. Wow, I got to get a second job. Wow, I'm going to pick off 1 or 2 deals a year from my friends and family. Wow, this just isn't worth paying all these bills I'm getting out of the business. So,
Yeah.
yeah, my two
I, I,
cents.
I completely agree. As you are aware, I spent about 20 years on Wall Street before I got into real estate, was with Coldwell Banker for roughly 10 years and ran an office. And just a tidbit for you, my office that I managed in Cherry Creek, our requirement, we had to sell $30 million a month just to turn the lights on and break even. 30 million a month. And so when I made the move and cut the umbilical cord, so to speak, and Lori and I looked through what we gave to Coldwell Banker and what we were getting back. And don't get me wrong, Coldwell Banker is a great company. They served us incredibly
Yep, yep.
well. And there are many different models out there, for those of you who are listening, many different models that suit many different types of business. The Home Smart model might be a great business for somebody that just wants a really low cost deal. You're going to sell 5, 6, 8 houses a year. Great. You don't really want to grow. You don't want to build a business. Great model. But what I was blown away at when I got to EXP, and I remember where I was when I was talking to you about it, and I saw all the tools, all the benefits. EXP has every tool under the sun that the big box broker has, every single one of them. Relocation, all the way down to CRMs, to you name it. You got it there, you got it here. But the thing that really struck me was the fact that they didn't have brick and mortar. There was no overhead. And so last year, if I'm not mistaken, in 2023, Keith, you could probably validate this, EXP gave $283 million. I'm going to say that again, $283 million back to agents. Incredible.
Mhm.
That is when a company who says they're the most agent-centric brokerage on earth is putting their money literally where their mouth is. You would agree?
Oh, of course I would. People, again, joking that it's penny stock, and it doesn't matter if you have, you know, revenue share if nobody's selling houses, and we're number one in transactions now. It's something that's reality. And then thinking
Yep.
about some of the ideas of people that are trying to you know talk about our company or to lure us away from our company to some of the imitators is we're proven, we're profitable, we're sustainable, we're big enough to deliver all of these tools, which man, what we're getting from Brian Ellington and EXP University right now, all the stuff they're rolling out to us for free. It's just incredible. I've never seen it anywhere in any brokerage in the country, and they just keep on doing it.
You brought up two things there that were really important, and I'm going to actually segue just for a second. We actually attracted an agent over from HomeSmart in the fall, and came over, got them into all of our systems, this and that, and then we did an analysis. And this is a big producer. This is somebody that does a lot of business. And when I say a lot of business, this is someone that's doing $50 million in sales. And so we're talking about a hitter, right? Doing about 80 transactions a year. And we ran the math. And at the end of the day, she was actually going to keep just under $14,000 in her pocket relative to being at HomeSmart, which touts itself as the low-cost shop. So it works. And anybody who wants to know, does it make sense for my business? Keith, myself, will be happy to run an analysis for you to show you apples to apples. Would you be better off? And the whole comment or the tagline that we have now called "Where the Pros Go to Grow."
I love it.
I literally, I'm on something with Brian Ellington and EXP University every week, and I'm listening to people that are doing 100 million in sales, that are just giving away their tips for free. I'm sure I'm not the only one seeing this. You see this every week, no?
Yep. Now, of course, it's just amazing how we're willing to share the culture. That's one thing that people talk about. How can you have culture of the virtual company? It's there, and we see each other so much. I came into EXP like 16 days before we got locked down on COVID, and to be able to meet people, to see people in Zoom or Google Meets, to go into the world and go to an office meeting when nobody else could do those sorts of things. It started peeling the curtain back for me. Then you go to an event or two, and there are regional rallies like in Denver in May, where you get to get together with other people in your company and get to you feel like you already know them. I remember going to my first event and people coming up to hug me, but that I had never met before, because that's the culture is just great. In spite of being a virtual company, I think that a lot of people are short-sighted with that until you come over and experience it.
I couldn't agree more. And the validating moment for me, outside of looking at everything that they offer to help me grow my business, and you can't use every tool. You can't. But if you look at everything EXP offers, you'll be able to cherry pick what's best for your business and plug and play, put it in. You can get answers quickly, how to use it most effectively. But the thing that really was my aha moment was my first EXP Con. It was in Las Vegas. I saw you there.
I remember you
And
coming by and punching me on the way by.
yeah, yeah. And I'll never forget this is a 4-day event. So, we're there, you get in Sunday, you're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's now Thursday morning. There are over 5,000 EXP realtors, over 5,000 in Las Vegas for 4 days. And I'm thinking, okay, it's Thursday morning. There's not going to be many people here. Keith, it was standing room only. The room was packed. Nobody was missing a minute. At that point, I said, I'm in. These people are entrepreneurs. They're here to grow. They're committed and they're pouring into each other because everybody's a shareholder. So they're happy to share all their best ideas. It truly is just different.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's not right for everybody. No one company is the best company, but there is a best company for every agent.
That brings up something. I want to touch real quick on that.
Yeah.
In my new role, I have leadership that has in front of me said to over 100 transaction agent, if we're not the right fit for you, more power to you. Good luck. We don't want to trick you into coming over here. That's all the recruiting I was taught before. Get them in the door and hopefully they'll love you enough to stick around. That we're not like that here. If we don't work for you, more power to you. Go to somewhere that works for you. But I'm pretty sure, like you said, I've got a page of our value proposition with 5 pillars and all these items on it. I call the overwhelm page. There's something in there that's going to work for you better than it will work anywhere else. So yeah, I just really respect that about my leaders that aren't trying to teach us how to trick people to come over. We have a value proposition. If it doesn't work for you, then that's okay.
That's why we call it agent attraction and not recruiting. We don't recruit.
100%.
We just we put it out to people, and if it attracts them, great. Mm-hmm. Two things that were announced in the last 24 hours that I think about. This morning, I believe it was announced that for the 8th consecutive year, we were voted as one of the best places to work by Glassdoor.
Number 7 of all industries, in all industries.
So Glassdoor goes out and they interview employees, workers, salespeople, et cetera, at companies in all different industries. And EXP was number 7 in the country for the best place to work. Not just number 7 real estate companies, number 7 of all companies in America for 8 consecutive years. This is a good place. And I think
I just did a post. I did a post today on what that means for agents. Because when you have happy staff, they're supporting you. They're encouraging you. They're not there as door or gatekeepers for anything. They're there to help you, and they're happy to do it. It's just amazing, the staff that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm going to just pivot on one quick thing. Yesterday, Leo Pareja, our CEO, Wendy Forsythe, were in New York at the NASDAQ, and they announced that agents have Canva Pro for free. We're also moving to Slack Pro for free, making our communication better. And they also, I don't know if you caught it, but they introduced a mega team agent who is moving her business from a different cloud-based brokerage, an imitator, to EXP.
A real imitator.
Yeah, a real imitator. And I could not be more excited for Spring Benson to bring her team. She's based out of Utah, absolute rock star. But what most people don't know is that her husband is the founder and president leader of Sisu, the number 1 app in the real estate space for managing your transactions. This is a true power couple in real estate. They have the ability to go anywhere they want. And for them to look out at the landscape and say, no, EXP is where we're going to grow. And that to me was a giant, giant validator. So, hey, let's shift gears for a minute. What do you see as the outlook for EXP's growth?
Big numbers. The expectations, the leadership are pretty big. Personally, I've got 6 states that I work with. I'm talking to their leadership and their agent advisory councils, and I'm throwing out real big numbers. And they can be really scary when you talk about it. And if you think about doing a business plan and somebody says they want to make $100,000 a year in real estate their first year, man, that's so big. How do you ever do that? But when you break down the numbers, and you're going to laugh because you know this, you only have to make 4 real estate calls a day and take 2 months off to hit those numbers. Yeah. And the same thing with these numbers. Okay, say you want 50% growth in the company. Half of your agents need to attract 1 agent this year.
Yep.
And that's 50% growth.
Where's our agent count right now?
We're just south of 90,000 worldwide.
So 90,000 agents worldwide, which I believe puts us either number 1 or number 2 in the world in agent count. We were number 1 in transactions last year. So to grow from that it's easy to grow when you're small. When you're big, it's harder to grow. So you're looking out and you've got mandates, et cetera. But looking at our leadership, Leo Pareja, who is our CEO, number 1 Keller Williams agent in the world in, I think, 2010, something like that. He knows what it's like to be in the trenches. He knows what we need. Glenn Sanford, total visionary. These guys are behind us and they're pouring in and they're giving you big numbers. Do you want to share those numbers, or do you think we should just keep that to ourselves?
I think we should keep it between ourselves for now. I don't have permission to. However,
that's fine.
We could just say it's between 20 and 50%. How about that?
Bottom line is they're playing for keeps. They've built a model that pros can grow. It's scalable. We went from 0 to 90,000 in 15 years. You know,
one thing
go ahead.
Well, one thing about the leadership too, that you mentioned that Leo was a top producing agent. Everyone except for one of our C-suite were real estate agents doing the job in the trenches, knowing what agents go through. There's nowhere else in real estate that does that on a big level. And we are one of the companies now that is so agent-centric because our leadership has been there across the board. So it's something that is impressive to me because they really do care about. I mean, it's crazy. Every week or two, they throw something out at us like, Canva Pro, Sisu, it's just like Slack Pro. It's just for free. And they're not asking us for more money. They're just trying to support us. It's just amazing leadership.
I'm going to piggyback that. I remember when I was at EXPCon in Miami in October, and I was with Brian Ellington, obviously our chief learning officer. I mean, how many real estate companies have a chief learning officer? We talk about committed to growth. And they rolled out a new program called Fast Cap. And a lot of our audience is unaware that Brian Ellington actually helped design the education component at Coldwell Banker back in the early 2000s. After that, he helped build the education component at Keller Williams. Suffice it to say, this guy's been in real estate growth and development education for 25 years. He has now taken all of that, distilled it down into something called Fast Cap that is free. I'm going to say that again. It's free. And the results are staggering as far as the agents that get into this program. And refresh me, Keith, how long is the program?
6 weeks, 3 days a week for 1 hour. And it's virtual, but it's on Zoom. So it's face to face. So you get to see the instructors and they get to see you. And the numbers are staggering. If you just do the minimum bare bones, just attend the classes, you're getting 6 appointments and 2 contracts, either listing contract, buyer contract, or contract to buy, sell. So that's just if you just show up.
Let's go through that one more time. We've got a program at EXP, and this is great for someone who's brand new in the business. It's also great if you got moldy and dusty and you got drifted into some bad habits and you want to jumpstart your business. In 6 weeks, Now, don't get me wrong, it's not easy. All right, you're gonna have to do the work, but in 6 weeks
Mhm.
of just add water, it's that simple. Do what they tell you to do,
Yeah.
and you pick up six. What is it? 6 appointments and two signed
Two
agreements,
cons. Yep.
two contracts.
Just for showing up. That's not even the guys that are really doing the work, doing the hard work. And it's
So if
free.
people,
And one of the companies that competes with a similar program is 700, $800 for the program.
wow,
And it's free here.
I'll tell you, it just keeps it just keeps getting better and better. If
Yeah.
you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur and you want to run a business, this is the place. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the
Hey,
best way.
one
Go
more
ahead.
thing, another peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
If you are looking to be one of those guys that wants to grow your revenue share, Fast Attract is coming. Similar to Fast Cap, it's going to be a program that coaches you and trains you on how to grow your revenue share organization. Free.
Okay.
Can be free.
Love it. We're gonna do another session, you and me, and we're gonna do it on RevShare and what it means and how it can change your life. But we'll save that for another day because that's a big plate.
Yeah, it
What
is.
do you think the best way is to be an attractor?
This is going to sound, I mean, we talked about this similar the other day. It's a lot simpler than you think, depending on how big you think you want to go, but you got to be yourself. And
Mm,
my best script, so to say, to go out and have an appointment with somebody is, hey, Wade, would you be interested in getting a cup of coffee together? And then, well, I don't want to be attracted. I don't want to be recruited. Good. I don't do recruiting appointments. Well, what do you want to talk about? I want to talk about you. I want to hear about your business. I want to hear what you think's going on in the market and
yeah,
make it all
straight
about them.
ideas.
Yeah. So face to face. Now, there are guys that do the mass appeal. They throw a wide net, and that's great. And there are a lot of them that are doing it really well. And
Mhm.
you need to have something to back up all that shine on the backside. So if you bring them in and just disappear on them, they're going to go out the other end. So
Yeah.
you need to bring value. What's your value proposition to the person on the other side? And three things that brought you to EXP. What are the three things, the reasons you came over? If you've been here a while, what are the three reasons you stayed? And then after that, if you need help, give me a call. Yeah, I'll get on a call with you and the other agent. You don't
Yep.
have to be the pro expert, EXP knowledge base. That's for us to
Mhm.
help you.
I couldn't agree more. And I personally am more about how am I going to improve and impact the life of another realtor, whether they're brand new, like we've got a young man coming on our team right now, Carter D'Souza, who is going to be an absolute rock star. Obviously, it's going to take some time, but he has got what it takes. Or whether you are an established agent or you want to grow a team, you just need to pour into somebody as far as what do you want to accomplish for you, your family, your clients, your business. And maybe we have the tools you need. Maybe we're not a good fit either. And you've got to have that candor to say, you know what, this probably isn't a good fit for what you're trying to do. And that's okay. Like we said, no company is the best company, but there is a best company for every agent based on the business they want to do and they want to grow. I want to shift gears to something that's near and dear to you. And what I'm going to ask you is if you aren't in this role, if you're not in the growth role at EXP, you're not a managing broker at EXP, what would you be doing? What
Yeah.
would Keith be doing to be green and growing and making his life amazing?
I love the green and growing, and I have a passion for attainable, sustainable homes and living. I
Okay.
believe in the science of, climate change. I watching my home state of Florida, face huge impacts, seeing a lot of impacts throughout the world if you open your eyes a little bit and see what's happening. And we need more resilient homes for our populace. We need to be thinking about the sustainability of the planet. So I am a green guy. I teach the NAR green designation. I do not wear my Birkenstock. Well, sometimes I wear my Birkenstocks when I teach, but it's not about, tree hugging hippies,
No.
and it's about what's best for our clientele. And NAR has done a sustainability study for the last 3 or 4 years. And the thing that surprises me the most is how much real estate agents think their clients want sustainable products, housing, alternative energy compared to what the people actually want. And we don't understand that they want it a lot more than we believe. Now, we did see a downtick in the last 2 or 3 years, but that's because inventory has shrunk and people are just looking for a home. They don't have the luxury of being able to find one with a heat pump, HVAC system, or with a great HERS rating. They're looking
Sure.
just it's almost like survival because they're only
Yeah.
shopping for what they can get. So what I would be doing is I'd be leveraging that love for sustainability and resiliency in a real estate business. I'm Green Coach Keith on all my socials. I love helping people utilize green ideas in their marketing and their support of their clientele. And I like to speak and teach, so I would be on the road as much as possible, sharing that news and information with other people.
Well, you are definitely green and growing. And I just want to ask one segue to that is, would you agree that it's a myth that you cannot build a multi-million-dollar luxury home and be green? Is that a myth?
No, it's not a myth. You can.
That's what I
Is
was
it
getting
the
at. You
yeah,
you can build an
yeah,
energy
yeah.
conscious, green,
Mhm.
sustainable home that's $2 million.
Yes, passive
Yeah.
house. Basically, you produce more electricity than you use. So, if you're rehabbing a house, you want to seal it first, make it airtight as much as you can, then insulate it better.
Okay.
Then you want to go electric with your appliances and your HVAC, heat pump, water heater, heat pump dryers. Now they have them all, that reduce how much energy you use, and then add the component of solar or wind or an alternative energy source. But you can, with solar panels on one of those detached garages for one of those homes, can make a properly built $2 million house home a sustainable passive house that produces more energy than it utilizes.
Well, we're going to do a third episode, and it's going to focus just on the sustainable green movement. And no, it's not about, you know, going down to the river to roll your papyrus to make paper. We're not talking about that.
Mhm.
There, you hit it nail on the head there. And that's what we'll focus on when you and I get together again is, are you producing more energy than you're consuming? That was a great takeaway. And it's pleasing to me to know that that can happen. And we'll do a podcast session where we not only talk about the different practices, how can you do this simply, but we might even talk about who are the contractors you might call, who are the architects you might call,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure they're specific, and I'm pretty sure you know who they are.
I would be honored.
So I like to ask every guest if they have anything that they would like to give away to the audience. Is there some item of value that you'd like to offer to the listeners?
Yeah, I do one-to-one coaching. I have coached for Tom Ferry. I had my own platform for a while before I got into this leadership role, and I miss having those one-to-one. So I'd love to offer a 15-minute free coaching session to anybody that reaches out to you, and you connect them with me. That'd be something that I'd really be excited about, because I do not get enough of that in my life these days, and I'd love the opportunity to share and help.
That fills your cup, definitely. And it always has
Yep.
since the day I met you. And, you know, some people might be thinking, well, 15 minutes, what am I going to get? in 15 minutes, a great coach can identify where you're falling short, where are you missing the key components to take your business to the next level. It doesn't take a long time. And, and I'll reflect this. Some realtors don't want coaching. They don't want accountability. I get that. But the greatest female athlete of all time during her era was Martina Navratilova. And guess, did she have a coach?
I'm waiting for you to tell me how many coaches she had.
She had 4 coaches. Best in the world. She had her nutrition coach, her fitness coach, her strategy coach, and then obviously her strokes coach. So the bottom line is my dad he would watch me when I was coming up through the junior ranks, and he and I'd get in a scuffle over whether I was doing this right or that right. And finally he looked at me and said, "Son, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you cannot watch yourself while you're hitting a tennis ball." And it was like, you know what? You're right. I can't see myself. And that's the problem that we as realtors face, is that we can't look at ourselves when we're in the foxhole doing our thing. And we need a coach like a Keith Everett to hold up the mirror, hold us accountable, and say, hey, you're good enough to be doing this or that or whatever it might be. So, Keith, I really appreciate that. When people reach out, we're going to send them your way. Keith, we're going to do this a couple more times. We'll do a session on RevShare. We'll do a session on sustainable building. You've been a great guest. I've really enjoyed it. Did you have fun today?
This was awesome. I tell you, like I said, I love sharing and helping. And you ask great questions. You got a great platform here. And again, I'm honored to be here.
Well, thanks, Keith. It is a pleasure to be your friend and your partner. And we're going to do this again. And we're going to share even more value with our people. I'm going to wrap us up. Hey, everybody out there, thank you for joining us in this episode of Green and Growing. If this episode sparked something in you, anything at all, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Stay connected to us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn and YouTube for more inspiration and exclusive content. And remember, we're about progress, not perfection. Cheers to Green and Growing, and we'll see you in the next episode. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Green and Growing. I'm your host, Wade Perry of the Perry Properties Group at eXp. Welcome,